I grew up in the West End of Louisville. I've also lived downtown, in the Highlands, Germantown, and a few other places. When I was in Vegas and asked people to join me on this adventure to Kentucky, I told them all about the city I loved. It's inclusive, family friendly, multicultural, great food, great music, and has some of the best people you'll ever meet. What I have seen this year is not what my Louisville is about. It's not what we as Louisvillians or Zapponians stand for. So I started a conversation with someone that shares that ethos. This man is doing great works to eliminate poverty, improve education systems, and build a culture of unity and equality. Not just in the city of Louisville, statewide. From the hood to the holler.
We stand here in the legacy of the dream. The dream that Dr. King lifted up, that Whitney Young pushed for, that Mattie Jones fought for, that my granddad Lindsey E. Hearn Sr. demanded. We're here today because we know that dream is not done. Because although they marched for us then, the cries we're hearing across the country right now, from Kenosha to Kentucky, from the hood where I'm from, to the hollers in Appalachia, to everywhere in between, those cries let us know we have more marching to do. And it is in this moment where we must rise up together. Because listen, we are built for this moment. We are on the shoulders of giants, but we must step off of those shoulders and lead ourselves. We are the dream, but we must turn that dream into demands. Demands for real justice. Demands for humanity. Demands for accountability. Demands for an end to poverty. Demands for an end to racism. And I am a living witness. As the youngest black state legislator in Kentucky since the first one, and yes, I did stand up to run against Mitch McConnell. I am a personal witness that we are ready for this moment. We're built for the work we must do. And if we come together, all of us, if we stand united, if we march together, if we bend that arc together, there is nothing we can't do. There is no mountain we can't move. And there is no roots of racism we cannot pull up. So we got to do it right now. We got to do it yesterday, so we definitely got to do it now. And I stand here as a young man in the legacy of a giant, Congressman John Lewis, who said 57 years ago some words that still ring true right now. We have to lift our voices together and say to America, wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up, America.
For we cannot stop.
We cannot quit.
And we will not and cannot be patient.
Brianna, I'm representing you right now. Let's win together. Let's fight together. Let's transform our future. Thank you all.
I've invited a special guest to give us advice and to tell us how we can get involved. I am honored to introduce the newest partner and friend of Zappos Louisville, Representative Charles Booker.
Hey y'all, how you doing, family? This is Representative Charles Booker, and I'm so honored to be with you. Thank you, Justin, for the introduction and the opportunity to work with, collaborate, partner with y'all. We're family, if you didn't know that. And I'm so honored to be working with Zappos in this fight to transform our future for all of us. Now, I know that we are in the midst of some very difficult times. I certainly feel it. A lot of us have been grieving, even in the streets, mourning and crying out for real change. And, you know, a lot of this pushes on me to do my part. And I know that you feel that too. And I just want you to know we're going to do it together. Now, a lot of my charge for getting involved in leadership just comes from my background. I grew up in the West End, and I've seen a lot of struggle and all the trauma that I've seen, having to ration my own insulin, having lost loved ones over the past few years, being murdered, cousins being murdered the last few years, and seeing the sacrifice my mom made just so that I could be okay, seeing the hard work that my grandparents and the neighborhood stewards did to lift up young people like me so that we'd have a chance. All of that inspires me to be a part of the solution in this time. And it gives me a whole lot of joy to know that we're built for this moment. The fact that you and I are together now, even though it's virtual, just lets me know that we're ready. And that if we come together and we work together, we're unstoppable. I know that. I know it for a fact. And some of you all may have heard that earlier this year, I ran for U.S. Senate. Now, I'm in the state legislature now, and, I'm doing a lot of work to try to build coalitions and speak to issues of structural racism and inequity and really dig into the hard challenges we face, regardless of politics and regardless of all the divides that we tend to fall into in this day and age. And I know we need that. And so I decided to run for one of the highest offices in the country, to speak that truth, to shine that light, to say that we have to break down the barriers of inequity, that we have to pull up the roots of racism, that we have to lean in with love and identify and embrace our common bonds so that we can mobilize and move together so that things can actually finally change. And what happened during the campaign was something big. It became a rallying cry. You would hear it all over Kentucky. People would say, from the hood to the holler. And, it would become like a call and response. And it was really a cry for us saying that we're not going to be ignored anymore, that our lives are not going to be diminished and devalued anymore because we're going to lead for the change, that even if we come from what has been determined to be the wrong side of the tracks or the wrong side of 9th Street, we know how critically important we are. We know how brilliant and incredible we are. We know that we deserve to be able to live a life that will not force us to decide between our prescription and keeping the lights on, paying the rent, or feeding our children. We know that. And we also know that we're better than racism, that we're better than these wedges that divide us. And so we're going to shout it out, and then we're going to organize around it. We're going to prove all the doubters wrong, and we're going to win. And although we didn't win at the ballot box, we did win. We won because we inspired people to believe things could be different. We won because we told the real story of how regular people in the forgotten places all over our community, all over our Commonwealth, that if we come together and we lift our voices together, that we can change the course. We can bend the arc, that Dr. King and Congressman Lewis, those who stood on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, same place I stood just a few weeks ago, bend that arc that they told us about, that we can do that work. And yes, we didn't win at the ballot box, but we know that that work is so much bigger than any one election, and we can't stop. Y'all know this. That's why y'all here right now. We can't stop. We can't afford to stop. And so I launched an organization, and I call it Hood to the Holler. And it is really our way of leaning into how do we lift our voices in those spaces where we've been marginalized, ignored, forgotten about, discriminated against. How do we help build our capacity so that we can take power? So we're training folks to be organizers, relational organizers, so that we can leverage our own power wherever we are, because we got it. But then also helping people to become citizen lobbyists. So all of the energy that you see where people are demonstrating and protesting, how do we turn that into policy change so that we don't have to deal with anybody else's door being kicked in? And we're helping to train people to run for office, boards and commissions, and take power. Because ultimately, as the people, as regular folks that want things to change, we got to do that too. And we especially have to do that. So we're doing the deep-rooted work, and all of this is around removing the barriers to democracy and making democracy actually mean something. And one of the big things we're doing now is just registering voters and pushing for enfranchisement, because Kentucky has been one of the most disenfranchised states in the country. So we know that if you don't have a voice to begin with, if you can't vote, if it's been taken away from you and you're never allowed to get it back, how do you even have a voice to begin with on pushing for the changes you really want to see? And so this month we've been registering voters all over Kentucky, especially those who have been formerly incarcerated and have a record, because we know that by breaking those walls down, change can come. Now, I know you're getting ready to vote. I am too. Some of you may already have started doing that process. Voting is just a part of it. It's an essential part, but it's just a part of it. We have to build. We got to build infrastructure. We got to build new networks that will allow for new voices to be heard all over the community so that we can actually push for the sustained change that we know we deserve. And so I'm committed to that. And I want to give all of my tools to you as you do your work as well, because that's what family does. And I'm asking that you join in with us. You can go to hoodtotheholler.org/be-the-dream to see all types of volunteer opportunities and ways to connect. If there's work that you're doing, initiatives you're focused on, we can help you. But more importantly, we can do this work of showing how, as a city and as a commonwealth, we're ready to lead for the nation. We're going to show the world what determination, what unity, what compassion in a real sense, what equity, what justice and accountability, what hope and progress. We're going to show them what it looks like, because we don't have a choice. But we're up to it. And I know you are. And I want to thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for seeing us in this moment. Thank you for saying her name. Thank you for not quitting, even though times get tough. And I know they do, because they sure do get tough for me. And thank you for your support. Any investment you make in Hood to the Holler is investing in the people. That's where the work is at. That's what I'm committing my life to. So let's join together. Let's lock arms and let's keep fighting. And so go forward with the rest of this day. And thank you again for everything. Much love.
Thank you, Representative Booker. Man, that was awesome. For you guys that didn't catch it the first time, it's hoodtotheholler.org/be-the-dream to sign up, volunteer. We can make this part of our holiday help. Aside from holiday help, I'm going to do it just because it's a great organization with a great leader, and it's beautiful. That being said, let's hunker down. Welcome to your socially distant quarterly all-hands meeting, hosted by Autumn Wilkins.